baba. Urusirele Monghadi Messia baba. Selamo yo halalela.
Shalom, 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 wakazak mashpaka. Welcome to another episode of Daily Tonic in the Word, right here on JC Crate TV. I remain your same brother, your humble host, Daniel Fesanan Yasharala. And today we are taking the concluding part of the book of Exodus, where we stopped yesterday. It's actually from chapter 36, going down to chapter 40. And it says, Then wrought Bezalel, and Aholiab, and every wise-hearted man in whom Yahweh put wisdom, understanding to know how to work all manner of work for the service of the sanctuary, according to all that Yahweh had commanded. And Moshe called Bezalel and Aholiab, and every wise-hearted man in whose heart Yahweh had put wisdom, even everyone whose heart stirred him up to come unto the work to do it. And they received of Moshe all the offering which the children of Yasharel had brought for the work of the service of the sanctuary, to make it withal. And they brought yet unto him free offerings every morning. And all the wise men that wrought all the works of the sanctuary came every man from his work which they made. And they spake unto Moshe, saying, The people bring much more than enough for the service of the work which Yahweh commanded to make. And Moshe gave commandment, and they caused it to be proclaimed throughout the camp, saying, Let neither man nor woman let neither man or woman make any more work for the offering of the sanctuary. So the people were restrained from bringing, for the stuff they had was sufficient for all the works to make it, and too much. And every wise-hearted man among them that wrought the works of the tabernacle made 10 curtains of fine twined linen, and blue and purple and scarlet. With cherubim of cunning works made he them. The length of one curtain was 28 cubits, and the breadth of one curtain 4 cubits, and the curtains were all of one size. And they coupled the 5 curtains one unto another, and the other 5 curtains he coupled one unto another. And he made loops of blue on the edge of one curtain from the sleeve edge in the coupling. Likewise he made in the uttermost side of the other curtains the coupling of the second. And 12. 50 loops made he in one curtain, and 50 loops made he in the coupling of the second. And the loops held one curtain to another. And he made 50 taches of gold, and coupled the curtain one unto another with the taches, so that it became one tabernacle. He made the curtains of gold. He made curtains of goat's hair for the tent over the tabernacle. 11 curtains he made them. The length of one curtain was 30 cubits, and 4 cubits was the breadth of one curtain. And the 11 curtain were of one size. And he coupled the 5 curtains by themselves, and the 6 curtains by themselves. And he made 50 loops upon the uttermost edge of the curtains in the coupling, and 50 loops made he upon the edge of the curtains which couples the second. And he made 50 taches of brass to couple the tent together, that it may be one. And he made a covering for the tent of ram skins and dyed red, and a covering of antelope skin above that. Verse 20. And he made the boards of the tabernacle of shittim wood, standing up. The length of a board was 10 cubits, and the breadth of a board 1.5 cubits. One board had 2 tenons, equally distant one from another. Thus did he make for all the boards of the tabernacle. And he made the boards of the tabernacle 20 boards for the south side southwards, and 40 sockets of silver he made under the 20 boards, 2 sockets under one board for his 2 tenons, and 2 sockets under another board for his 2 tenons. And for the other sides of the tabernacle, which is towards the north corner, he made 20 boards, and there are 40 sockets of silver, 2 sockets under one board, and 2 sockets under another board. And for the side of the tabernacle westward, he made 6 boards, and 2 boards made he for the corners of the tabernacle in one side, and they were coupled beneath and coupled together at the head thereof to one ring. Thus he did to both of them in both the corners. And there were 8 boards, and their sockets were 16. 16 sockets of silver, under every board 2 sockets. And he made bars of shittim woods, 5 for the board of the one side of the tabernacle, 5 for the boards of the other side of the tabernacle, and 5 bars of board, and 5 bars for the board of the tabernacle for the sides westward. And he made the middle bar to shoot through the board from the one side to the other, and he overlaid the board with gold, and made their ring of gold to be placed for the bars, and overlaid the bars with gold. And he made a veil of blue and purple and scarlet and fine twined lining with cherubim made he it of cunning works. And he made thereunto 4 pillars of shittim wood, and overlaid them with gold. Their hooks were of gold, and he cast for them 4 sockets of silver. And he made a hanging for the tabernacle door of blue, of purple, and of scarlet, and fine twined lining of needleworks. 38. And the 5 pillars of it with their hooks, and he overlaid their chapiters and their fillets with gold, but with their sockets were of brass. Now we are in chapter 37. And Bezalel made the ark of shittim wood 2.5 cubits, and was the length of it, and 1.5 cubits the breadth of it, and the cubit, and 1.5 cubits for the height of it. And he overlaid it with pure gold, within and without. And he made a crown of gold of it round about, and he cast for it 4 rings of gold to be set by the corners of it, even 2 rings unto one side, and 2 upon the other side of it. Verse 4. And he made staves of shittim wood, and overlaid them with gold. And he put the staves into the ring by the sides of the ark to bear the ark. And he made the mercy seat of pure gold. 2.5 cubits was the length thereof, and 1.5 cubits was the breadth thereof. And he made 2 cherubim of gold, beaten up of one piece made he them, and the two on the two ends of the mercy seat, one cherub on the end of this side, and another cherub on the end of the other side. Out of the mercy seat made the cherubims, sorry, out of the mercy seat made he the cherubim on the two ends thereof, and the cherubim spread out their wings on high, and covered with their wings over the mercy seat, with their faces on one to another, and even to the mercy seat seatward were the faces of the cherubim. And he made the table of the cheating wood 2 cubits, 2 cubits was the length thereof, and the cubit the breadth thereof, and a cubit and a half was the height thereof. And he overlaid it with pure gold, and made here thereunto a crown of gold round about. And he made hereunto a border of a handbreadth round about, and made a crown of gold for the border thereof round about, and a cast for it 4 rings of gold, and put the rings upon the 4 corners that were in the 4 feet thereof. One over against the border were the rings, the places for the staffs to bear the table. And he made the staffs of shittim wood, and overlaid them with gold to bear the table. And he made the vessels which were upon the table, his dishes and his spoons and his bowls and his covers, to cover without of pure gold. And he made the menorah of pure gold, of beaten works made he the menorah, his shaft and his branch and his bowl, his knobs and his flowers were of the same. And the 6 branches came out of the sides thereof. 3 branches of menorah out of the one side thereof, and 3 branches of the menorah out of the other side thereof. 3 bowls made after the fashion of almond, is one branch, a knob and a flower, and 3 bowls made of almond in another branch, a knob and a flower, a knob and a flower, so throughout the 6 branches going out of the menorah. In the menorah were 4 bowls made like almond, his knobs and his flowers, and a knob under a branch of the same, and a knob under 2 branches of the same, and a knob under 2 branches of the same, according to the 6 branches going out of it. Their knobs and their branches were of the same. Of all of it was one beaten work of pure gold. And he made his 7 lamps, and his snuffers, and his snuff dishes of pure gold. Of a talent of pure gold made he it, and the vessel thereof. And he made the incense altar of shittim wood, and the length of it was a cubit, and the breadth of it was a cubit. It was 4 square, and 2 cubits was the height of it, and the horns which were of the same. He overlaid it with pure gold, both the top of it and the side thereof round about, and the horns of it. Also he made unto it a crown of gold round about, and he made 2 rings of gold for it under the crown thereof, by the 2 corners of it, upon the 2 sides thereof, to be placed for the staffs to bear it without. And he made the staffs of shittim wood, and overlaid them with gold. And he made the only anointing oil, and the pure incense of sweet spice, according to the works of the apothecary. Now we're in chapter 38. And he made the altar of the ascending smoke offering of chitin wood. 5 cubits was the length thereof, and 5 cubits was the breadth thereof. It was 4 square. And the cubits, and 3 cubits, and 3 cubits the height thereof. And he made the horns thereof of the 4 corners of it. The horns thereof were the same, and he overlaid it with brass. Pardon me. And he made all the vessels of the altar, the pots and the shovels and the basins and the flesh hooks and the fry pan. All the vessels thereof made he of brass. And he made the altar a brazen grate of network under the compass thereof beneath of the unto the midst of it. And he cast 4 rings for the 4 ends of the grate of the brass to be placed in the staff. And he made the staffs of chitin wood and overlaid them with brass. And he put the staffs into the rings and on the side of the altar to be buried it without. He made the altars hollow with board, and he made the laver of brass, and the foot of it of brass, and of looking glasses of the woman assembly, which assembled at the door of the tabernacle of the assembly. And he made the court of the southward. The hangings of the court were fine twined lining 100 cubits. Their pillars were 20, and their brazen socket 20, and the hooks of the pillar were fillets. The hooks of the pillar and their pillets were silver. And for the north side of hangings were 100 cubits. Their pillar were 20, and their sockets of brass 20, and the hooks of the pillar and the pillets of silver. And for the west side were hangings of 50 cubits. 50 cubits, their pillar 10, and their socket 10, and the hooks of the pillar and their fillets of silver. And for the east side eastward 50 cubits. The hangings of one side of the gate were 15 cubits. Their pillars were 3, and their sockets 3. And for the other side of the court gate, the hands, and on this hands, and they were hangings of 50 cubits. Their pillars 3, and the sockets 3. All the hangings of the court round about were of fine twined lining, and the sockets of the pillar were brass, and the hooks of the pillar and their fillets silver, and the overlaying of the capitals of silver, and all the pillar of the court were filled with silver. And the hanging of the gate of the court was seam of blue and purple and scarlet and fine twined lining, and 20 cubits was the length, and the height in the breadth of 5 cubits, answerable to the hangings of the court. And their pillars were 4, and the socket of brass 4, their hooks of silver, and the overlaying of their capitals and their fillets of silver, and all the pins that is of tabernacle and of the court round about were of brass, and This is the same. This is the sum of the tabernacle. Even the tabernacle of testimony was it as it was counted according to the commandments of Moshe for the service of the levahin in the hands of the Ilmatar, sons of Aharon, the priest. Let's go on. 22. And Bezalel, the son of Uri, and the son of Kori, and the tribe of Yehuda, made all that Yahuwah commanded Moshe, and with him was Aholiab and Achikamak of the tribe of Dan, and a cunning workman and an embroiderer in blue and in purple and in scarlet and fine wine and fine linen, and all the gold that was occupied for the work in all the works of the holy place, even the gold of the offering, was 29 talents and 730 shekels, and after the shekels of the sanctuary. And all the silvers that were numbered of the assembly was at 100 talents and 1,750 shekels, after the shekel of the sanctuary. A beker for every man, that is half a shekel, after the shekel of the sanctuary, for everyone that went to be numbered, from 20 years upward, for 600,000 and 3,500, for 600,000 and 3,550 men. And of the hundred talents of silver were cast the sockets of the sanctuary and the sockets of the veil, of as 100 sockets of 100 talents, a talent for a socket. And of the 1,775 shekel, he made hooks of the pillar and overlaid their chapiter and filleted them. And the brass of the offering was 70 talents and 2,400 shekels. And therewith he made the sockets of the door and of the tabernacle and of the assembly, and the brazen altar and the brazen grates of it for it, and all the vessels of the altar, and the sockets of the court round about, and the sockets of the court gate, and all the pins of the tabernacle, and all the pins of the court round about it.
Know the line. Are you searching for a conducive and affordable apartment within the Bahari Beach, Tanzania? Don't go too far. We have 4-bedroom furnished apartment, 3 BHK, 2 en-suite bedrooms, and 1 public toilet. And our building is well fitted with the air conditioner, free water, just 5 to 7 minutes drive from Bahari Beach. Also, we have 1 free border ride to the beach per month, access to Fire Sticks, DSW TV available as well. And don't forget, we also have unlimited Wi-Fi just for 50,000 per month. And also, our conducive apartment is close to Jambo Supermarket, close to Kibo Plaza, close to Vodacom and Tigo Pesa, close to many Wakala stations, close to Barabara Restaurant, close to Yoki Market, Leisure Plaza Hotel and Restaurant and Pool, close to Budget Resort Restaurant, and also close to TJ Daycare to prove that our apartment has good landmarks within the outskirts of Tanzania. Also, we have rentals of BMX bicycle with motor. We have the Mercedes-Benz bicycle and the mountain foldable travel bicycle for rent as well. So all these great things can only cost you just 1.5 million per month for the next 3 months of the rental for this apartment. Wow! Why not to make it a date? Come home, visit the motherland. Come look at the prestigious view of Tanzania at the comfort of what you can ever imagine. To get all this offer, please contact 144 Global Solution on this phone number +2 5 5 7 6 9 4 0 2 7 4 3. Also contact us via email at mayaspeakstz@gmail.com. And I'm hoping and also promising that this will be a treat that you will never forget. Because with 144 Global Solutions, we are always here to bring solution to your luxurious living. Like home.
For sponsorship, advert placement, please call or WhatsApp this number +234 811 731 0928.
Welcome back from that short commercial break. So let us go to the concluding part of the program. Now we are in chapter 39. And of the blue and the purple and the scarlet, they made clothes of service to do service in the holy place, and made the holy garment for Aaron as Yahweh commanded Moshe. And he made the ephod of gold, blue and purple and scarlet and fine twined linen. And they did beat the gold with tin plates and cut it into wires to work it in the blue and in the purple and in the scarlet and in the fine linen with kerning works. They made shoulder pieces for it to couple it together by the two edge was it coupled together, and the belt of his ephod that was upon it was of the same according to the works thereof, of gold, of blue and purple and scarlet and fine twined linen, as Yahweh commanded Moshe. And they wrought the onyx stone enclosed in unch of gold, graven as signet, are graven with the names of the children of Yasharel. And he put them on the shoulders of the ephod, that they should be stones for a memorial to the children of Yasharel, as Yahweh commanded Moshe. And he made the breastplate of current works, like the works of the ephod, of gold, blue and purple and scarlet and fine twined linen. It was foursquare. They made the breastplate double. A span was the length of it, or the length thereof, and a span was the breadth thereof, being double. And they set in 4 rows, of stones. The first row was a sardius, a topaz, a carbuncle. This was the first row. The second row, an emerald, a sapphire, and a diamond. And the third row, a ligure, an agate, and an amethyst. an amethyst, sorry, not amethyst, amethyst. And the fourth row, a beryl, an onyx, and a jasper. These they were enclosed in ouch of gold in their closings. And the stones was according to the names of the children of Yasharel, 12, according to their names, like the engraving of a signet, saying everyone with his name according to the 12 tribes. And they made unto the breastplate chains at the end of the written work of pure gold. And they made 2 ouch of gold, and 2 ouch, and 2 gold rings, sorry, and 2 gold rings, put the 2 rings on the end of the breastplate, and they put the 2 headings, the 2 writhings chain of gold into the 2 rings of the end of the breastplate, and the 2 end of the writhing chains were fastened. They fastened in the 2 ouch and put them on the shoulder piece of the ephod before it. And they made 2 rings of gold and put them on the 2 ends of the breastplate upon the borders of it, which was on the side of the ephod inward. And they made 2 other golden rings and put them on the 2 sides of the ephod underneath, towards the 4 parts of it, over against the other couplings thereof, above the belt of the ephod. And they did bind the breastplate by its ring up onto the ring of the ephod with a lace of blue, and it was that it might be above the belt of the ephod, and that the breastplate might not be loosed from the ephod, and as Yahuwah commanded Moshe. And he made the robe of the ephod of woven works, all of blue. And there was a hole in the midst of the robe, as the hole of a habergeon, with the band round about the hole, that it should not rend. And they made upon the hem of the robe pomegranates of blue and purple and scarlet and twined lining. And they make bells of pure gold, and put the bells between the pomegranate upon the hem of the robe round about them, and the pomegranate between the pomegranate, a bell and the pomegranate, and a bell and the pomegranate round about the hem of the robe of the minister in, as Yahuwah commanded Moshe. And they made coats of fine linen of wooden works upon Aaron and his son, and a turban of fine linen, and goodly bonnet of fine linen, and linen breeches of fine twined linen, and a belt of twinned linen, and blue and purple and scarlet of needlework, as Yahweh commanded Moshe. And they made the plate of the holy crown of pure gold, and wrote upon it a writing like of the engraving of a signet, Kodash la Yahuwah, which means the holiness of Yahuwah. That's what they call Kodash la Yahuwah. And they tied unto it a lace of blue, to fasten it on high upon the turban, as Yahuwah commanded Moshe. Thus was all the works of the tabernacle of the tent of the assembly finished. Tent of the assembly is not talking about a building. To don't let the camps or the church fully that the building that they structured on one spot is what the Most High is calling his own tabernacle. No. And the children of Israel did according to all that Yahuwah commanded Moshe, so did they. And they brought the tabernacle unto El Moshe, and the tent, and all his furniture, his stashes, his boards, and his bars, and his pillars, and the sockets, and the covering of ram skin dyed red, and the covering of the antelope skins, and the veil of the covering, and the ark of the testimony, and the staves thereof, and the mercy seat, and the table, and all the vessels thereof, and the showbread, the pure menorah with the lamp thereof, even with the lamp to be set in order, and all the vessels thereof, and the oil for light, and the golden altar, and the anointing oil, and the sweet incense, and the hanging of the tabernacle doors. The brazen altar is great of brass, and his staffs, and all his vessel, and the laver and his foot. The hanging of the court is pillars, and a socket, and his hangings for the court door, his cords, and his pins, and all the vessels of the service of the tabernacle for the tent of the assembly, the clothes of services to do the service of the in the holy place, and the holy garment of Aaron the priest, and the son's garment to minister in the priest's office. According to all that Yahweh commanded Moshe, so the children of Yasharel made all the works. And Moshe did look upon all the works, and behold, they had done it as Yahweh had commanded. Even so had they done it, and Moshe blessed them. The last chapter for the day. And Yahweh spoke unto Moshe, saying, on the first day of the first month, you shall set up the tabernacle of the tent of the assembly, and you shall put therein the ark of the testimony, and cover the ark with the veil. And you shall bring in the table, and set it under the things that are to be set in order upon it. And you shall bring in the menorah, and light the lamp thereof. And you shall set the altar of gold for the incense before the ark of the testimony, and put the hangings of the door of the tabernacle. And you shall set the altar of the assembly smoke offering before the door of the tabernacle of the tent of the assembly. And you shall set the laver between the tent of the assembly and the altar, and put water therein. And you shall set up the court round about, and hang up the hangings of the court gate. And you shall take the anointing oil, and anoint the tabernacle and all that is within, and shall hallow it and all the vessel thereof, and it shall be holy. And you shall anoint the altar of the ascending smoke and all its vessel, and sanctify the altar, and it shall be an altar most holy. And you shall anoint the laver and its foot, and sanctify it. And you shall bring Aaron and his sons unto the door of the tabernacle of the assembly, and wash them with water. And you shall put upon Aaron the holy garment, and anoint him, and sanctify him, that he may minister unto me in the priest's office. And you shall bring a son, and clothe them with coat, and you shall anoint them as you anointed their father, that they may minister unto me in the priest's office. As for their anointing shall surely be an everlasting priesthood throughout the generations. Thus did Moshe, according to all that Yahweh commanded him, so do we. And it came to pass in the first month of the second year, of the first day of the month, that the tabernacle was reared up. And Moshe reared up the tabernacle, and fastened a socket, and set up the board thereof, and put in the bars thereof, and reared up his pillar, and he spread abroad the tent over the tabernacle, and set the covering of the tent above upon it, as Yahweh commanded Moshe. And he took and put the testimony into the ark, and set the staff of the ark and the mercy seat above upon the ark. And he brought the ark into the tabernacle, and set up the veil, of the covering, and covered the ark of the testimony, as Yahweh commanded Moshe. And he put the table in the tent of the assembly, and side upon the side of the tabernacle, northward and without the veil. And he set the bread in order upon it before Yahuwah, as Yahweh commanded Moshe. And he put the menorah in the tent of the assembly over against the table on the side of the tabernacle southward. And it lighted the lamp before Yahuwah, as Yahweh commanded Moshe. And he put the golden altar in the tent of the assembly before the veil, and he burnt sweet incense thereon, as Yahweh commanded Moshe. And he set the hanging at the door of the tabernacle, and he put the altar of the ascending smoke offering by the door of the tabernacle of the tent of the assembly, and offered upon it ascending smoke offering and an oblation, Yahuwah, as Yahweh commanded Moshe. And he set the laver between the tent of this assembly and the altar, and he put water there to wash without. And Moshe and Aaron his son, and Moshe and Aaron and his sons washed their hands and their feet thereat, where when they went into the tent of the assembly, and when they came near unto the altar, they washed as Yahweh commanded Moshe. And it reared up the children, and it reared up the court round about the tabernacle, and the altar set up the hanging of the court gate. So Moshe finished the work. Then a cloud covered the tent of the assembly, and the glory of Yahuwah filled the tabernacle. And he reared up the court round about the tabernacle and the altar, and set up the hanging of the court gate. So Moshe finished the work. Then a cloud covered the tent of the assembly, and the glory of Yahuwah filled the tabernacle. And Moshe was not able to enter into the tent of the assembly, because the cloud abode thereon. And the glory of Yahuwah filled the tabernacle. And when the cloud was taken up from the tabernacle, John of Yasharel went onward in all their journeys. But if the cloud were not taken up, then they journeyed not until the day it was taken up. For the cloud of Yahuwah was upon the tabernacle by day, and the pillar and the fire was on it by night, in the sight of all the house of Yasharel throughout all their journeys. So with that being said, actually we are able, and we are able to cover up our today's passage for the program, and also that we are able to complete the book of Shemoth, that's the book of Exodus. As well, tomorrow we are going to the book of Leviticus, that's Vayikra. We're going to the book of Vayikra, as well, from tomorrow, as well. I remain your humble brother, Daniel Feslan Yashrala, right here on the program Daily Tonic in the Word on GC Create TV. And with this, I say shalom and bye for now.